What is going on, everybody? Today we're looking at some Hasbro Marvel Legends figures. So first off, from the X-Men, we have Professor X in his Savage Land outfit. So we have Professor X where he can actually walk. Of course, I think part of the Savage Land stuff is that he loses some of his powers, so he doesn't have his telekinesis and stuff. But it's cool that he has the Cerebro helmet and all that, so that looks cool on a nice retro card back. So there we have him there, of course, looking like it's from that 90s cartoon, which is more what the figure's based off. And then we have from the Dark Avengers, the Dark Avengers Warbird. So we had Warbird before, so now we have it this time, but where it's Moonstone as Warbird, or as Miss Marvel, as she's technically known. So Moonstone being a part of the Dark Avengers there, so we get the nice Dark Avengers logo. I assume if we spin around, yeah, we'll get some of the story with her look there from the Dark Avengers, so looks pretty cool for that. So we have her now to continue to build out more of those Dark Avengers. So let me get both of these figures open out of the box, and we'll take a look at them together. So we're going to start off with Professor X, again from the Savage Land, so he has more of that jumpsuit that he's seen wearing in the Savage Land, and this does seem to be more from the animated series than it is from like the comics and everything, just because of what the back of the box said and all that. But Charles Xavier is an Omega level mutant with telepathic powers. He's the founder of Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters and the X-Men, with a dream of mutants and humans coexisting peacefully, and as I mentioned here, he's in his Savage Land attire, and Savage Land is a prehistoric valley in Antarctica where mutant powers are negated, at least from the animated series, and it somehow allows Xavier to walk again while there. So in the series we see him able to walk in Savage Land, so that's what this is more based off. So again, we get this like darker olive green sort of jumpsuit, and again, it's a jumpsuit we've seen multiple times like with Hank Pym and everything, but it looks good. So we get Xavier's head always with the crazy eyebrows there and the bald head, but the rest of it looks decent, you know, overall. Then we get that jumpsuit again in the darker green colors with the X logo there on his shoulders. That's nice. Belt around the waist, love like the red buckle, just adds that pop of red into all the green. Has a black t-shirt on underneath that, sleeves rolled up, and love the different variations of green. So this is more like a darker olive green compared to the green of the rest of the suit. That matches with his gloves as well. Then the pants come down to the boots, and we get gray boots on his feet there. So pretty basic in the design, obviously not a whole lot to it or anything, but just nice to have the walking version of Charles Xavier represented here. Now, movement-wise, the head will twist all the way around, can look down that far and up that far, so pretty decent movements there in the head. We have the shoulders that will come up to 90 and rotate all the way around. We have the bicep twist and the double elbow joint that will bend up that far, so not too bad at all for it. Get the wrist that'll twist all the way around and flex back and forth. Then we get the ab crunch, so we have the crunch forward, crunch back, not a whole lot of crunching with that design there though, and twist all the way around at the waist. The hips will come up to 90 and out to the side that far, so not all the way to the splits. Thigh twist all the way around. The double knee joint feels pretty stiff. That'll kick himself in the butt there, so that's pretty nice. We get the shin twist at the top of the boot, and the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So pretty good movements overall for the Xavier. Obviously not the best, of course, a lot of joints are stiff with the pinless joints there, but overall they work and get really good range once you get it moving and all that. But accessory-wise, he does come with some extra hands, so we get some set of grip hands with trigger fingers, so I'm not sure why he needs that. Of course, it doesn't come with any guns, but with being in Savage Land, I guess he could use some guns since they don't have their mutant powers, so we could give him some guns with that, but we just get some trigger finger hands there. And of course, we also get a hand for using his powers, so just putting his fingers to his head and stuff, so let's switch that hand out. So there's Charles with those fingers to his hands using his powers. And then also with this, we also get Cerebro, so the helmet version of Cerebro. So that looks pretty nice. Nice design. Love the shiny design they did with it and everything. Of course, we can just sit this onto his head. Should be able to just slide right on over his head. Got a little stuck there on his ears, but can just slide onto his head. So there you can maybe use the powers with Cerebro there as well while in the Savage Land. So that looks really cool. Just like that design overall for Xavier. Like I said, it's pretty particular thing with it being from the Savage Land design, but I do just like it overall. It's a nice cool design for Xavier. And of course, we've had multiple Charles before in the past, so here is just the one that him with the chair, of course, where he's more in the suit and everything, but you know, looks very similar with the head design and all that. So it is nice just to get the different version, like I said, the more walking version, so him with the chair. And of course, that chair one also came with this Cerebro as well. It had the little effect on it, so if we could put that on the head if we want that, because I don't think, oh, I guess there is a hole, so I guess we could maybe reuse this effect, because yeah, it's about in the same place. Let's see if we can put this on. Okay, yeah, we can't because the tubes in the back there don't allow, because this one doesn't have the tubes all the way back there. So yeah, we can't reuse that, unfortunately, but that would be pretty cool if we could. But just different version of Cerebro there to go with our two different versions of Charles. But definitely really like this, though nothing wrong with this at all. I really like having it and everything. Just like I said, unfortunately, it's not something that can be widely used on a shelf. And then we're also looking at Warbird here, but the Dark Avengers version, which is Karla Sofin, also known as Moonstone. So when Norman Osborn took over control of the Avengers, he formed the Dark Avengers to carry out his personal agenda. And some former Thunderbolt members loyal to Norman Osborn were promoted to the Avengers, but took on new mantles due to their criminal past, including Moonstone, as she became Miss Marvel. Now, of course, if you don't remember Moonstone, she absorbed the Gravity Stone, also known as the Moonstone, into her body, which gave her superhuman strength, speed, durability, and reflexes, as well as the ability of flight, shape-shifting, intangibility, and energy projection. So I'd say pretty similar power set overall to Miss Marvel. So it's pretty cool we have her here, so nice addition to go with our Dark Avengers. So especially with that day can come up, we're going to be able to build out more of our Dark Avengers, and this Warbird is a nice addition to that. Of course, looks a lot like Miss Marvel, so we get the like head and stuff, probably very similar to what we got with Miss Marvel. Maybe different hair color would be the only difference, but she still has the mask, almost like the domino mask there around her face. Nice overall head design and stuff. The lips and everything look good with that, and the nice blue eyes there, and the blonde hair sort of flowing over here to the side. It almost looks like there's a bit of like an orange wash. It may not come through in the camera, but you know, just making the colors a little bit darker there. Then we get the outfit that does look like Miss Marvel, but like her more modern, not the Miss Marvel we know, where she had the black attire with the gold like lightning bolt down it. This is, like I said, more closer to the Captain Marvel design, but we get the black up top going into the red midsection. We have almost like the Captain Marvel little Nova logo there on her chest as well. Black gloves on her hands, little black outlines here around her legs, the all bare legs going down into the boots. So she's got the black boots with the red cuffs at the top of them. And then she also has the scarf around her neck, so it's tied around there and hanging down into the back. So that looks pretty nice overall, just to differentiate her just a little bit. So obviously she's trying to pull off the look of Miss Marvel, but we actually know that it's Moonstone. So for her movements, her head will twist around. I'm not sure how much it'll move with her hair and everything. You can kind of twist, her head just popped right off. I guess it's not that tight on there, so it pops off pretty easily trying to twist around. So I guess you can't really twist it too much. She can look down that far and then just about that far with the hair in the back. So yeah, just little movements there in the head, unfortunately. But the shoulders will come up to 90 with the butterfly joints, so we don't get butterflies too often with the females, so that's nice. Of course, probably reusing that Miss Marvel body we got for not too long ago. And then, of course, the shoulders will twist all the way around as well. We get the bicep twist and the double elbows. So we get the pinless double knees and elbows on this. So with that, it allows it to bend pretty far, almost all the way up on itself. We get the wrist that'll twist all the way around and flex back and forth. Then we go to the ab crunch, so she'll crunch back and forth and twist around. And then she has the additional crunch, so crunch forward, crunch back, so nice crunching. So again, nice double crunch there on the female body. The hips will come up to 90 and out to the side there. Thigh twist all the way around. The double knee joint that'll bend up that far to the back, not bad at all. And the foot will flex back and forth and twist side to side. So pretty good movements overall. Like I said, love the body, especially with the double ab crunches, the double knees and elbows and stuff. So all that works really nice for the female body here. Just for some reason, issue with that head not sticking on. I don't know if the scarf's in the way or just the head joint's not like sculpted in there properly, so it keeps falling off. Not that it's a big deal, it doesn't just fall off, it's just when you start messing around with it, it tends to fall off there. But we do get a number of accessories for her, so she does come with an additional head, more showing some of her powers there with like the yellowed out eyes. So that's just a good Miss Marvel head in general, but let's switch it out. So there's that head, more of showing off her powers. Of course, it seems like it's sitting down deeper, so it does stick on a lot better, but it just seems like she has no neck now, especially with that scarf design on there. We also get an additional set of hands, so a set of fist hands if you want to have those. But of course, for her showing off her powers, we'll just leave the magic-like hands on. And then we get some effects to go around her arms as well for those powers. So let's put these on. So there's the Warbirds with the effects there on her hands. Of course, looks nice. Of course, they could be better overall design, but just the same ones Marvel uses over and over again. But there we got those effects now showing off her powers. Now, of course, if you don't remember Moonstone that I keep talking about, we got one not too long ago. So here's the more recent version of Moonstone. Of course, she does have the double elbows, but older knees and stuff with the pins. So definitely not a brand new version, but we did get her more recently. So that's just what Moonstone looked like there. So again, going from this version into the Miss Marvel design here. And then, of course, like I said, this one's based more off that Miss Marvel we already had, so here's that Miss Marvel. And of course, we did take this one and just modify it, so you can take this one, maybe take the sash off her waist there, and then we took one of the scarves from one of the old Miss Marvel, like the Kamala Khan Miss Marvels, and just put it around her neck, so we could easily turn this one into the Dark Avengers Warbird. So you could do just like this as well, so it gives you the Dark Avengers Warbird there as well. So like I said, you could easily modify that one if you didn't want to buy a whole new figure, but I just like this one since, you know, it's officially labeled as the Dark Avengers Warbird. Warbird or Miss Marvel there with Moonstone in her disguise. So overall, really nice to have it like it overall. Again, with the different Miss Marvel, it does separate it out. Of course, we could buy 2 of these now, take the scarf off and everything, and turn this into, you know, the little bit more modern version of Miss Marvel before she switched to Captain Marvel. So that'd be cool as well. But overall, a nice figure design, especially with that newer, better female body. Well, that's going to be it for our 2 Marvel Legends figures today, where we got the retro carded Charles Xavier from the Savage Land, so pretty nice design for it. Like I said, real specific for that, but I do like the figure overall, so really happy with it. And then we got the Dark Avengers Warbird or Miss Marvel, which is really cool, like her design overall. Really love that figure. So 2 nice additions to the collection, especially the Warbird to build out our Dark Avengers. So let me know what you thought of these 2 figures down in the comments, and if you enjoyed my review, let me know what that like, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button to see more. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope you all stay awesome out there, and I'll see you in our next review.